All right, let's just dive straight into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to take a look at a completely wild, chaotic series of extreme challenges and break them down into a real head-to-head analysis of human capabilities versus raw animal instincts. We're looking at some of the most fascinating matchups ever conceived. But this isn't just about pure entertainment. It's really about highlighting the incredible evolutionary gaps between us and the animal kingdom. We want to see exactly what happens when the absolute peak of human performance goes toe-to-toe or, toe-to-paw with nature's most formidable creatures. To keep track of all this madness, here's our fight card for the day. We'll start with man versus beast begins, roll right into survival and instincts, take a quick detour for creativity and the senses, escalate to the ultimate speed showdown, and wrap it all up with the real winners.
So, Section 1, Man vs. Beast begins. It is officially time to test some raw human strength and agility against literal apex predators.
This first matchup perfectly captures just how absurd these challenges actually are. We've got Brian, literally the world's strongest man. This is a guy whose typical workout involves pulling actual airplanes. And his opponent? A 500-pound lion. The challenge is a simple game of tug-of-war. But for several grueling moments, this massive cat just effortlessly held back the strongest guy on the planet. The lion was casually turning around, digging in its paws, basically just wearing Brian out. Now, Brian did ultimately grind out a really hard-fought win, but man, it took every single ounce of strength a human being can possibly muster just to overcome a lion that was basically playing a casual game with its food. Which brings us to our next test of physical prowess, vertical agility. Now ask yourself, do you honestly think a human being could realistically outjump a tiger? The kind of explosive vertical power you'd need to beat a massive feline predator is just staggering. To figure this out, we're looking at Darius, the human world record holder for vertical leaping, going up against a majestic tiger named Luna, who they lured upward with a piece of meat.
And the results are actually shocking. The bar was set at exactly 12 feet 3 inches. That's a full inch higher than the previous Guinness World Record. Well, Darius didn't just clear it, he completely crushed it. He set a brand new world record right then and there, actually beating the tiger's jump. So right out of the gate, Team Human takes a very early and honestly pretty surprising 2-0 lead in pure physical feats.
Moving on to Section 2, Survival and Instincts. We're shifting gears away from pure physical measurements and stepping into the intense realm of high-stress evasion, where literally one single slip-up means complete failure.
Just imagine being this competitor, Nick. You walk into an arena and you're handed an absolutely terrifying choice for a shot at $100,000. Option A, survive 1 minute in a ring with Rami, a 500-pound professional sumo wrestler. Option B, survive a minute in a ring with a massive, actual grizzly bear. Yeah, Nick very wisely realized that a grizzly bear could literally tear an average human to shreds, so he opted to face the sumo wrestler. But, survival isn't just about picking the right opponent. It's about lasting. Despite his absolute best efforts, Nick got pushed out of the red circle just seconds before the minute was up. He lost the challenge to sheer human mass in exhaustion. But survival isn't always about a physical clash, right? Sometimes it's just about not being found. Enter a group of elite Special Forces soldiers who deployed some frankly brilliant evasion tactics. Their challenge was to hide in a massive junkyard until dawn, completely evading a team of elite search dogs. And these experts did everything flawlessly, totally by the book. They rubbed themselves on vehicles to create false scent trails. One guy literally dunked himself in a freezing river to mask his body odor. And another soldier impressively scaled 50 feet up into a tree just to get his scent entirely off the ground. But beating the science of the animal kingdom is incredibly tough. Take a look at the biology of olfactors. These are the sensory receptors lining the nasal cavity. Because tracking dogs, like Odin the search dog used in this specific challenge, have these noticeably long snouts, they have an immensely high number of these receptors. And more receptors mean vastly superior scent tracking capabilities. In practice, this meant Odin could effortlessly scan through roughly 500 abandoned cars, process countless overlapping smells, and basically instantly pinpoint the exact vehicle holding a human target. To these dogs, the soldiers' incredibly clever evasion tactics were practically useless against a biological tracking system that nature has been honing for millennia. To quickly sum up this chaotic round of survival, We had a professional bull rider named Bubba who casually breezed through an arena with 3 charging bulls to secure $50,000 for Team Human. Nick, as we saw, lost his match to a fellow human, the sumo wrestler, which technically still puts a point on the board for humanity. And despite the unbelievable noses of those search dogs, 2 of the Special Forces soldiers actually managed to stay hidden until the sun came up, resulting in a tie for that matchup. So the overall score remains surprisingly balanced between human ingenuity and animal instinct.
Okay, Section 3, Creativity and the Senses. Let's step completely away from raw danger for a second and test art, imagination, and perception.
Yes, you heard that correctly. This next challenge was a 10-minute paint-off. In one corner, we have human comedian Trevor Wallace frantically trying to paint a school. In the other corner, Isla, who just so happens to be the world's best painting elephant. They were each given 10 minutes, a canvas, and some paint to create whatever masterpiece they wanted. It's exactly as crazy as it sounds. To judge this, they brought in a professional art appraiser with over 30 years of experience. But she was completely blind to the fact that one of the artists was a literal elephant. Looking at Isla's canvas, the judge gave this absolutely hilarious, overly serious critique. She said, "I feel a lot of joy in this particular painting, but I see that they're being honest to who they are." She then proceeded to rate the elephant's painting an incredibly respectable 8 out of 10. Trevor Wallace's painting, a measly 2 out of 10.
So, updating our scorecard here, Team Animal claims an undeniable landslide victory in the fine arts. And what's really amazing is that Isla the elephant's abstract masterpiece didn't just win this silly challenge. It was beautifully framed and is now hanging in an actual real-life art museum. No joke.
Moving right along to Section 4, the ultimate speed showdown. This is the final test. And it all comes down to this ultimate question. Can a cheetah, the absolute fastest land animal on the planet, actually beat a cutting-edge, human-engineered Formula E electric race car?
Well, figuring that out required a pretty hilarious progression of races. To test this cheetah, whose name was Millie, they started small. Race 1 was against a golf cart, which Millie outpaced so quickly it was almost embarrassing. I mean, she crossed a finish line before the cart was even halfway there. Race 2 stepped it up to a minivan. But even with the pedal literally to the floor, the minivan's acceleration was a total joke compared to Millie's explosive sprint. Finally, they brought out the big guns, the Formula E race car. In a pure battle of acceleration and top speed, human engineering finally took the crown. The Formula E car rocketed past the cheetah in a literal flash.
We've seen some incredible feats of strength today, leaps that break world records and speeds that just blur the camera. But I actually want to slow down the pacing significantly right here. Let's pivot from all this high-octane competition to a much more serious, grounded message as we look at our final section, the real winners. I want you to think about this number for a second. Over a century ago, right around the time human beings were just starting to manufacture the very first automobiles, long before Formula E cars ever existed, there were over 100,000 cheetahs thriving naturally in the wild. Fast forward to today, and that number has plummeted drastically. Fewer than 8,000 cheetahs remain on Earth. It's a stark reality, and it's exactly why representatives from the American Humane Society were present on set for every single one of these challenges. It is absolutely vital to ensure that these majestic, endangered apex predators are treated ethically and with the utmost care and respect. So, the crucial point we really need to walk away with today isn't just about who wins in a tug-of-war or a foot race. It's this final question. How can we ensure these awe-inspiring animals survive to keep pushing our own limits? These creatures challenge us, they fascinate us, and they share this planet with us. Protecting them from extinction is absolutely the ultimate challenge we face together. I really hope this explainer gave you a totally new perspective on the incredible capabilities of the animal kingdom. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and keep exploring.